Good evening, viewers. My name is Abraham Lincoln, and today I will be retelling my life from my humble beginnings leading up to the events of the war between the states. It all began in 1809 in Hardin County, Kentucky, where I was born in a log cabin to my parents, Tom and Nancy Lincoln. We mostly moved around erratically for the most of my early life, my pa being a carpenter and a farmer. I helped my parents with the chores and went to school like most of the other children. Deep down, though, I always held some disdain for the backwoods life. I always had a desire for learning and ambition, and I near drowned myself in books when I was a youngin'. My father never really did quite understand why I was so obsessed with book learning. After my father died, and I was out on my own, I took up a small job on the Ohio and Mississippi rivers moving farm produce. I didn't really expect much out of it, but on those trips I saw something I hadn't really seen much of before, even in Kentucky: slavery. In 1831, I decided to settle down in New Salem, Illinois. I had some trouble starting out, however. I drifted from job to job, being a store clerk, mill hand, and the like. One of the first real gratifying honors of my life during this time, however, was my military service during the war against Indian Chief Black Hawk. Me and my company never saw any action, but it was a gratifying honor nonetheless. Later in Salem, the local schoolmaster of my area, my mentor Graham, guided me in my studies of math and literature. Here I joined a debating society, where I fell in love with William Shakespeare and Robert Burns. Around this time is also when I announced my candidacy for the Illinois State Legislature. As a Whig, during my early political career, I was a devotee in the great compromiser Henry Clay. I valued his vision for the country, with an emphasis on government-supported education, internal improvement, banking, and economic development to promote growth and opportunity. I had numerous successful runs in state legislature. I was a member of the Illinois House of Representatives from 1834 to 1843. After retiring from legislature, I devoted most of my time to my law practice, and after practicing for some time, I grew dissatisfied with my country. I decided I was going to run for the U.S. Congress from my safe Whig district. I served my first and only term in the U.S. Congress in the Senate from 1847 to 1849. During this time, the Mexican War was raging, provoked by President Polk, who desired California. I demanded to know where it was exactly American blood had been shed to demand the shedding of more American blood for an expansion war. American soil or Mexican soil? The war also forced slavery back into the consciences of Americans. I voted several times for the Wilmot Proviso, which would ban slavery in the Mexican cession, that is, the lands gained by the Mexican War. In 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act propelled me back into politics. Under Stephen Douglas, a Democrat and a supporter of popular sovereignty, the policy that if people of a territory could decide on the legality of slavery there, the act would remove the ban on slavery in the Louisiana Purchase territory above the line 3630, crucial to the Missouri Compromise. I hadn't spoken much about slavery up to this point, but now I spoke up. Around this time, I gave 175 speeches on the evils of slavery. In 1856, this act also propelled me to help found the Republican Party of Illinois, where many people disillusioned by their own parties, Whigs, Democrats, and Free Soilers alike, joined. In 1860, I decided to take a stand for America. I ran for the presidency on the Republican ballot, on the platform of the end of slavery expansion, the development of new rail lines, including a transcontinental railroad, a protective tariff, internal improvements at the federal expense, and free homesteads from the public domain. My challenger was the Democrat Stephen Douglas. During the campaign, we hosted many debates, and during these, the Dred Scott case occurred, effectively legalizing slavery in the entire country. I questioned Douglas as to whether or not the people of the territory had a say to the legality of slavery there, and although many of his constituents did not believe so, Douglas, being the popular sovereignty poster boy, said they did. I would win the election of 1860, but this would spell trouble for the country soon. Two months after the election, 7 southern states believed themselves to have seceded from the country, and in another 5 years, the American Civil War would begin.